South Carolina. How we doing today? Nice. For those of you who may not know, I am Derek Stephen Prince. I have been in pretty much every single season of Digimon except for season 5. So, from the old school Digimon to Digimon Fusion. Those of you who may not be as familiar with all of my work, just going down the list for you. Digimon Season 1, I was Piedmon. Digitamamon, which was the egg, and Demi-Devimon. Season 2, I was Kenichi Joji / Digimon Emperor / Digimon Kaiser. Vmon, Demi-Vmon, X-Vmon, Pyhildramon, Imperial Dramon. Season 3, I was Impmon and Beelzemon. Season 4, I was Grumblemon. Not a memorable character. I don't, you know, if you guys don't remember, it's like, who? Season 5, not in. Season 6, I played Jeremy, which was Digimon Fusion. That's when Season 6 started. And then Season 7, which was the most recent one, continued the role of Jeremy, but was probably more memorable as Zaildramon, which was the bee-looking Digimon. So, that's my history with Digimon. This is a very informal panel. So, really, it's more for you guys. Any questions that you may have had, any experiences that you want to share. This is really, anybody who is a diehard Digimon fan, this is like your time to like, come together, and just, you know, kind of kumbaya as far as, you know, stuff. So, first question I have for all you guys, because you both have heard the new season and the old season theme song. Who's more of a fan? I don't know. I know your answer already, so you don't have to raise your hand. Who's more of the diehard Digimon fan? Theme song. Okay. Do we remember the theme song? Okay. Who's more of a diehard of the newer season? So then all of you guys who didn't raise your hand don't really care about the Digimon thing. That's fine. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna open it up first off. If any of you guys have any questions about the entire season of Digimon minus season 5, although you can ask questions about it, I might be able to help you out with some of the stuff there. But this is really just like an open forum for you guys. So, who's got a question? You guys, yes.
So, in season 1, you played Piedmon, correct?
Season 1, I played Piedmon the Clown.
Okay, so what was it like going from pretty much a bad guy to a good guy, all within the whole Digimon?
What? Okay, now wait a minute. Just to clarify, because I want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly. When you say good guy, which good guy are you referring to? In season 1.
Well, then let's go to season 2. How you were like Digimon Emperor, bad guy, and then you were Kenichi Joji, good guy.
Yeah.
Was it like changing being bad guy?
That's a great question. Hey guys, welcome. For those of you who are just arriving, this is the Digimon panel, which you guys know about. I already shared with everybody what roles I did in Digimon. At this point in time, I can't go back, unfortunately, but if you look me up on IMDb, Derek Stephen Prince, you'll be able to check out all those characters. So this is pretty much an open forum. So this is really for everybody to ask questions and get more information about Digimon. So the question was, what was it like going from a bad guy to a good guy? Yes, as Kenichi Joji. I'm going to share something with you guys, all right? This is going to be an enlightening experience for some of you that don't know anything about anime as far as recording it, except just watching it as the viewer. I, as an actor, know absolutely nothing when I am going in to record. I don't know the character, I don't know the storyline, unless it's something that I myself have actually, found an interest in and said, wow, I really like this show. Which, for me, the most part, I don't watch anime, before it even comes out. And even when it does come out, I don't even watch my own stuff, typically speaking. Digimon was the exception, and SAO. But for the most part, like I said, I have no idea what I'm going in to do. They don't tell me ahead of time. I don't get a script ahead of time. I have absolutely no idea if I'm going in and just talking like this and just being really intimate, or if I have to scream my butt off, and scream for like 1.5 hours or 2 hours. Typically speaking, I don't see anybody else in the cast when I go in to record. It is me in a booth, and then you have a director, an engineer, and possibly a producer. That's it. So when I went in, this at the time when Saban was in its height, was it Union? I don't remember. I don't think it was. It may have been though. I'm having a hard time recollecting. It was a while back. But so for each of the seasons of Digimon, 1 through 3. In season 4, I didn't have to audition, but seasons 1 to 3, I did have to audition. And when I auditioned for season 2, I actually was not requested to audition for Ken, or the Digimon Emperor. At that point in time, it was not Ken. It was just Digimon Emperor, because everybody in the production was in the same page as I was. They'd never seen the show before either. They didn't know what was coming, they didn't know the storyline, nothing. So at that point in time, it was just Digimon Emperor, bad guy, right? So I saw the character, because there was a list of all of the sides that were available for each of the characters, and I went in and I saw that one, and I said, you know what, I want to try out for that one. Will you guys let me? And they said, well, yeah, we already have kind of somebody in mind for that. It's like, just, let me give it a shot. And so, obviously, they liked me. And I got to do the stuff for that. So, all I knew was that I was a bad guy. I was a bad kid. I didn't know the storyline behind it. I didn't know anything. And so from each episode to the next, the kid that you first see behind the computer, looking at all of the, the kids and the Digimon, and just knowing that the kid hates them for some reason, we don't know why, but from that to the next episode when he's kicking a dog, to whatever, it's like, this is just an awful kid, but I had to somehow bring some life into this character to make him, even though he's bad, like there's a side of him, even though it might be a very small side of him that you can't help but want to know more about, even though you hate him. And that's what I try and do with, thank you, sir. That's what I try and do with everything that I do, whether it's a bad guy or not. There has to be some sort of a backstory, because if there isn't, you can tell the difference as the audience when there's actually, and I don't know if you guys are going to get this or not, but you can tell in the voice when there is life behind a character and there's an actor just saying lines. Am I right? Yeah? Okay. So that's what I try and do with everything that I record. And this character was no exception. I had no idea, based on how in-depth this character was, and in my personal opinion, out of all the seasons that I've done, season 2 is my favorite. Out of all the seasons I've done, I have never, ever, even to this day, had a character where there was such an arc, a definable arc, like from being a bad guy to saying, oh my gosh, like I had no idea what this kid had gone through, like the death of his brother, just getting so involved in computers that was his thing, and then just, the hatred that he had, and it was self-hatred mostly, because he couldn't get over the fact of his brother dying, and he couldn't do anything to help him. And it never really talks about it in the arc, but I personally think that Ken saw his brother die. Like, he was maybe, because it doesn't talk about it in the storyline, so I just had to make it up myself. But I kind of had this thing, like, because he sees, whenever you flash back and he sees his brother falling down onto the street, or being hit from the car or whatever, I always pictured in my mind that Ken was like on the other side of that street, and they were playing, and his brother ran across and he got hit, and he fell. and that's how he died. So I always put that internally for myself as a character, like that's what happened to him. And once we got to that one part in the middle of the story where he, goes off into the desert and you're never gonna see him again, that's what we all think anyway. That particular episode was, oh my God, like the worst in terms of emotional. I mean, it was really emotionally charged, but it was so awful just in the sense of like how much you saw this kid suffering, and you actually understood now why he did everything that he did up until this point. And that was like obviously the pivotal point in the season for him to turning to a good guy. Although he wasn't completely good, you don't just change overnight, so he always had these demons that were inside of him that he had to constantly battle with. But that one particular scene was at a point in time where we were also through Saban going through some changes. And we weren't recording in the same studio anymore. It was kind of an uncomfortable feeling because it's like I'm in an awkward space, which actually couldn't have aligned itself better for that particular episode because it just helped bring that much more emotional quality to that particular episode. And when we, do all you guys, I mean, I'm just blabbing, so I don't know if any of you guys have not seen season 2. Have any of you guys not seen season 2? So everybody here has seen season 2? Okay, cool. So then you all know what I'm talking about, that one particular episode when he's walking in the desert, right? And before he does that, when Warmon dies, I'm not giving anything away, right? Okay. When, spoiler alert, yeah, but that particular part of that episode, it's like when we did that, and like I said, nobody knew what was going on until we actually get into that studio, so I had no idea what my lines were, nothing. When we got to that particular point, and everything that you guys hear in that particular moment when Wormmon died, we didn't do another take on it. We couldn't do another take on it. Like, you couldn't get any better than what I had already done for that one particular part where he just breaks down. But after I broke down, and I didn't break down just as Ken, I broke down like as me. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening to this person. It was so emotionally charged, literally speaking, the entire studio had to take a break for 5 minutes, which you don't do, ever, because you're under a certain time crunch to be able to get things done, and producers are paying money to make sure that everything happens within a certain timeline. We couldn't. Everybody was so distraught, like crying, like we had to take a break for 5 minutes. That's how that's how serious that one particular episode was. So, to finish answering your question, each day I never knew what was happening, but it was so. I loved coming into work every single day for that particular season because you had no idea what was going to happen next, like what other layer of the onion was going to evolve out of Ken. And it's like, in the end, do I necessarily like the very last episode? No, because I think it was kind of like a letdown in a way. And hello, why is he not back in Digimon Tri? I don't know. That's the writers. You have to go back to the Japanese writers for that. But he's not, which sucks. Did I say it sucks? Yes, I did. I'm not mad about that at all. But anyway, does that answer your question pretty much?
Sort of, kind of in a way.
Sort of, kind of in a way?
I guess you're saying that because you were such an unnatural state, like you went in not knowing and coming out knowing that you don't really know because it was that moment and that's all you could
Yeah, right, yeah.
Since you haven't
But it was
work while you were doing what you were doing.
Right.
We could see the development, but you were developing it. You didn't see the development of it.
Correct. But, that doesn't... Testing. Do we have a wireless one by chance, Brandon?
Not down here, no.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. No worries. Yeah, so as much as I could answer it, I'm sorry I couldn't fully answer it, but at least you guys have a better idea now. Like, what's actually involved when somebody like myself goes in to record an episode, because I have no clue. Yes, sir.
Are you going to be voicing any characters in Digimon Tri?
Not that I'm aware of. Unfortunately, I talked to the producers about it too. I said, hey, remember, when I did all these characters? And they said, no, there's nothing that's written from the Japanese production.
I tried to get that one over. Sorry.
Yes.
So, do you want any spoilers about Digimon Tri?
Not necessarily.
No, okay. So
I don't
actually
care.
had a backup question.
Yes.
I had a backup question in case. So in season 2, you played Vmon and also ex-Vmon, and in 3, you were Impmon and Beelzemon. So
Yes.
what's it like bouncing between high-pitched, happy characters and like deep, gravelly, manly characters?
Well, so I'm gonna. Did everybody hear the question?
Yes.
Okay. So between cute characters and deep, gravelly, manly characters, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to focus more on season 2, only because what you guys need to realize is that from each season to the next, we don't record any of them together, like at the same time.
Okay.
So season 2 in and of itself was in a particular time span. Season 3 happened later. But season 2 is a very good example of the cutesy characters like Demi Vmon and Vmon, and then ex Vmon, who was a very manly character, Beetleborgs and Imperial Dramon. So once again, not knowing what I'm going to do from one week to the next, I had no clue, like what. So like, let me get this straight. Digimon actually evolved to become bigger characters. Okay. So what does bigger mean? Bigger means more voice, bigger means manlier, bigger means whatever. So when I did Vmon, right, who is this character, and when I went in to actually audition for the role of Vmon, and I saw the blue furry creature, and all he had was the 2 teeth, the 2 vampire teeth, right? And that's the voice that I thought of, because I thought that would fit for that particular character. And it worked, obviously. Everybody else liked it. But I was also afraid, like, it might offend some people, because he has a slight lisp. And they were very, 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 they had to be very careful, because they didn't want to offend kids who had lisps, right? You can't offend anybody in television. Well, you used to not be able to offend anybody in television. Now they don't care. Right?
That's true.
So, when I saw the character of ex-Vmon, and he's this big guy, right? Like 2 times the size of a regular human, and I thought, well, what am I gonna do to make this furry, cute little creature sound like a big monster? And I had to really think about it, and I had to dig deep inside of me. And I go, what makes me sound awful, but in a good way? So it just happened, and that's ex-Vmon.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Scary, but in a good way, because he's a hero, obviously.
Obviously.
So, yeah, did that answer your question?
Sort of. It was more like, if you had to bounce back and forth a lot, was it kind of hell on
Oh
your
my
voice,
gosh.
or?
So I'm one of the few actors, I don't know, I'm sure there probably are other actors that are like me, but I know a lot of actors who if they know what they're going to be doing from one episode to the next, like they say, hey, what am I going in to record? Who am I doing? Do I have to scream? Whatever. I don't care. It's like, hit me. I'll be surprised. Whatever it is, come at me. Whew. And that's just how I work. I like that, diversity of not knowing what I'm gonna do from one second to the next. I'm crazy, but that's okay. There are some actors who like to know exactly what they're doing. Okay, so I'm doing the cutesy one first, then I'm doing the manly one, then I'm gonna do the screaming. That's the way I'm gonna work, so it makes the engineer have to work harder. I don't know, maybe I'm too sensitive, but I'm the kind of person that's like, we're all in this together. We all have a job to do. I wanna make your job, producer slash, engineer slash director, I wanna make your job as easy as possible. So let's just go through the episode. Doesn't matter. You know, let's just get it done. And if it doesn't get it done, then that means I have to come back and I have to be paid more money, and I don't care. That's fine. Yeah. Cool?
Yep.
Cool. Way in the back. Yes, you.
So when it comes to voicing different characters on that same show with Digimon, how did it feel listening talking to yourself?
Oh, great question. One of my favorite episodes in season 2, if you guys remember when the Digimon Emperor captures all the kids and they're all in that cavern, you know, and they're all like against the wall. And Davis is, you know, basically the last of all of them who is not chained up, but he's down on the ground and he has to grovel, and Vmon is right next to him, like with his foot ready to step on him, and there's Ken floating in the air somewhere, you know, and Ken and Vmon are having a conversation. It was so cool, like, for me, because I just informed you guys how I like to work. So, sometimes, depending on how close the lines are together, if they're really, really close together, the engineer will leave he'll basically do what's called leaving it open, which means that if you think that you can match the lip flaps, I'll leave it open for you so that I'll keep recording until you can't record anymore. So that's what I did on a couple of times with Ken and Vmon in that one particular scene. And it was so cool. It's like, I'm talking to myself. This is awesome. But I really like that one particular episode in particular, because I had the opportunity to do that. It doesn't happen very often. It really doesn't. You know, I was fortunate enough to get 2 roles. You know, most actors are lucky if they get 1. And I was just really, really fortunate. So, yeah. Yes. With the tie.
Yes. When you were working with Saban, like, were you working on certain? You worked on Power Rangers and Digimon. Were you working on those at the same time?
No, I don't believe so. Power Rangers was before Digimon, but I do believe, I'm trying to think about this timeline-wise. I think Beetleborgs was also before Digimon?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys all know Beetleborgs?
We're 90s kids.
I'm a 90s kid.
So I take it a lot of you guys don't like Beetleborgs.
Yeah, it was terrible.
All right, do any of you guys remember Moncoli Nights?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so to answer the question, I think I was recording Moncoli Nights and Digimon at some point in time together, because if you all remember, I was Mondo in Moncoli Nights, and that was confusing. Like literally, like me as an actor, I had to go in, depending on which season it was. I was going, okay, wait, what's my voice for Mondo? Oh yeah, and they have voice references when you go in and record. They keep those, the episodes that you record, so they can say, okay, this is what you sounded like in the last episode, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, great. But yeah, like when I was really like working there at Saban, it was just like, what? It was hard to keep up sometimes. But, obviously I did it. I'll get to you. I just want to make sure there's nobody else that has a question first, or at least, somebody, yes.
I was going to ask, out of all the Digimon that you voiced, which one is your favorite? And then the second part of that is, if you were Digidestined, which Digimon would you like to have as your partner?
Ooh.
Nice.
Wow. I have to answer
I thought
that,
about this a long time, obviously. I already know mine. So
Okay.
Think of it like part 1 and part 2. Answer part 1 first.
Yeah.
You're going to have to.
Okay, so part 1 was, which is my favorite Digimon in terms of,
To voice.
as far as the
you
characters
voiced.
that I voiced.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you even pick one?
It's hard. Every time. You make a very valid point. She just said they're like babies. You can't. It's like, no, I like you. You're my favorite kid. They're all a part of me. I would say in terms of rewarding, obviously I had the most rewarding experience voicing Ken, because of the arc that he had throughout the entire season.
Character development.
But one of the ones that I have probably I'm a Monty Python fan. One of the ones that I had the most fun with was voicing Zailzamon in Digimon Fusion. If you guys haven't seen Digimon Fusion, I don't consider it to be as good of a quality as the original series, but just for good laughs, it makes, you might want to just check out Zailzamon in season 7, because I do a total takeoff of Monty Python French in that as Zailzamon. And so that made it really fun. I also had a lot of fun with Paildramon. I'm sorry, not Paildramon, Piedmon in season 1. Now, I don't know, how many of you guys were actually at my personal panel yesterday? Yes. Okay, so not a lot. Shame on you. But for those of you who weren't there, which was the majority of you, in season 1 where I played Piedmon, I like to borrow from actors that I admire and that I aspire to be like. And I often use their voices or characters of voices that they have used in the past in terms of like paying homage to them in a way. So for Piedmon, I actually reincarnated Tim Curry from, Rocky Horror Picture Show as Frankenfurter, and that was basically Piedmon. But if you go back and you watch season 1 and you go, oh my gosh, he's so like Frankenfurter. It's totally it, it's like, and he was fun to play. I mean, as one of the Dark Masters, it was cool, very cool. Yeah. You, sir, you have not answered a question yet, or asked a question. Yes, you.
Okay. Just more of a. I was just wondering, have you ever heard of the Death Battle show? And have you seen the episode involving Greymon versus Agumon versus Charizard? Or Greymon versus Charizard?
I don't know one word of what you just spoke of.
There's a show called Death Battle where there's a scene where there's Charizard versus War Greymon. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Sorry. Feel bad. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's cool.
When you mentioned you did Piedmon as Tim Curry, was there any time when you were doing actor impersonations that the production staff had issue with it?
Yes, great question. So, once again, for those of you who weren't in my personal panel, shame on you. But I did mention it yesterday. So, prior to doing season 3 of Digimon, there was a video game that was done called, I think, Digimon Rumble Arena.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, those of you who watched it and played it know that the voice that I did as Beelzemon in that game was not the same voice that I did for the season. Why was that? Because in the video game, I thought, won't it be fun to imitate Sylvester Stallone as Rocky and put that as Beelzemon's voice, which I did. We had a great time with it. But the unfortunate part was when we actually got to record season 3 of Digimon, at that point in time, a movie was either currently playing or was in production, post-production, or whatever for Rocky, one of the Rocky, episodes for the entire franchise. And we were too afraid that if there was something like that, which at that point in time by season 3 was becoming really popular with the kids. They really liked Digimon as opposed to Pokemon. Not that there's anything wrong with Pokemon, but the Digimon get to talk, right? So we had to change it for season 3 because we didn't want to necessarily get sued for using Sylvester Stallone's likeness for the season. Yeah. Yes.
This is gonna be stupid silly, but
it.
There's no stupid, silly question.
How do you feel about season 2's canon relationships at the very end of the season?
Hate it. Hate it.
Hate it all.
Hate it. Like, why? Why do you do that? You know, it's like just so you guys can wrap up the season. Now everybody has to get hitched or married or like somebody. What's up with
I
that?
mean, they had a buttload of kids, 10 in your league.
It's like, why? Why do that? I didn't. I personally. I mean, you know, I'm sure there are fans out there that liked it. I personally did not.
Have wanted Sora to go with
Huh?
Matt or Ty. Who would you want Sora to go with, Matt or Ty?
Sora was hot. I wanted to go with me. Screw Matt or Ty. It's like, so what? Sizzle. Anyway. Way there in the back. Yes.
So, speaking of movies earlier,
Yes.
how fun was it at winning the whole Digimon movie thing?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when the Digimon movie came out, that was a huge, huge deal. The entire cast, this does not normally happen in an anime. Like, Saban, like, pumped this thing up. It is not normal for a cast to go onto the movie studio set. Like, we actually went to Fox in Los Angeles in their private movie theater and watched the movie. And we each got our own Digimon, you know, bags with, you know, metal lunch boxes, and, you know, it was huge. It was cool. And, I mean, for me personally, like, walking out of the movie theater and then seeing the big donut on one of the stages, which is where they recorded The Simpsons, it was like, oh my God. It's crazy. It was very, very cool. It was very unprecedented for an anime to do something like that. That huge. Not to say that there aren't other animes now that don't, you know, obviously have showings for, you know, stuff when they come out, you know, like the SAO thing that's going to be coming out in April. But yeah, that was very unprecedented, and it was like, wow, like I'm in the big league in a way, you know, or at least I felt that way. But yeah, good question. Yes, sir.
I noticed that when you were Ken as the evil Digimon Emperor, and then Ken, obviously, when you changed back to a good guy, there was sometimes like a slight difference in voice tone. Did you voice Ken differently when he was good? A little bit different on purpose from his evil persona?
Did you guys all hear that question? Yes. The answer to your question is yes. Because physically speaking, okay, when you have something that is weighing on you, right? You physically sound different. Do you not? Like,
yeah.
Whether you're sick or whether, you know, there's a pain in your side or something, and you may not necessarily be able to pinpoint where that pain is coming from. With Ken, it was his heart. And, you know, that manifests vocally, you know, to a certain extent. You may not necessarily be able to say, well, there's like something wrong with you. Are you feeling okay? You know? But you can tell. You know, you can just hear it. And as a voice actor, that's what I tried to bring to Ken as well. Like, once that lifted or started lifting off of him, his voice was lighter.
Right.
It was happier. It wasn't as dark. And because he was getting rid of that persona, so to speak. I personally think, like, I don't want you to tell me, but I personally think, like, if I was one of the Japanese writers writing Digimon Tri, I would have Ken, like, still be battling with the demons and having them face him again as an adult. Or even better yet, like he's bipolar. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just me. Anyway, but yeah, so yes, there was a definite difference, and I intended for that to happen.
Okay.
Which is also one of the reasons why I really loved that season, because of the challenges vocally as an actor that it gave me. Yes.
you have more fun being a hero or a villain?
I have more. The question was, do I have more fun being a hero or a villain? I have more fun, definitely, being a villain. But, like I said, for those of you guys who may not necessarily have been here for the whole panel so far, the reason why I like that is because, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? For those of you guys who might know more of the body of my work, but in every single villain that I do, I try and bring a sense of humanity to that villain. You may hate him, you may not like him, but there's something about that character. It's like, oh God, I hate that character, but what is it? It's like, I can't just turn off the television. There's something about him, like, oh, you know? So that's why I like that. The challenges internally that it brings me as an actor. I saw you raise your hand back there with the flowers. No, that's okay. If you want to ask me after, that's fine. Okay? I don't want to embarrass you. Yes.
In the second Digimon movie release, when they had Ken with them, what was your favorite part voice in that one?
Okay, you're telling me
It's
something
the
I might not
return
remember.
of Beetleborgs.
I'm sorry, what?
The return of Beetleborgs, the second movie.
The second movie, you know.
There is a Return of the Boromon movie. It's the one with.
Did I record it?
It was an OVA.
It was an
like,
OVA
episode
thing.
length.
Oh,
Like
okay, that's
8
maybe
years
why
ago.
I'm not linking the two together.
Yeah, it was just a special release.
Okay, and this was what in particular? I might,
It was after Digimon Emperor's arc.
yeah.
So Ken was there. I
Uh-huh.
was asking, what was your favorite part of that? If you didn't voice that.
I don't know if I'm hoping I voiced it. I'm gonna be really mad if I didn't.
They had the
Um,
other English voice actors because there's dub for it.
There is.
There is.
Huh,
Disney recorded it.
okay.
It was during season 5.
All right, yeah, I don't know. Yes.
Okay, so which Kaiser design do you prefer, the 02 or the Tri?
I didn't see the try.
Oh, okay.
So I have
I
nothing-
thought you might have seen the picture.
Yeah, I have nothing to compare it to.
Okay.
Yes.
Paildramon is Beemon and Steemon, correct?
Yeah, it's DNA Digimon.
Okay, now how did y'all do that voice?
Oh.
Like, was it you recorded
Oh, the
separately
echo
and
voice.
then
I wanna know that
put
too.
it together? Because
Okay,
that's
so-
combined.
That's a great question. Did you guys all hear that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the challenges, like I said, is that when we record by ourselves. We don't record with another actor in the same booth with us, typically speaking.
It turned out really cool, but now I'm just curious.
Not only with Paildramon, but also Imperial Draman.
Imperial.
Okay? Had to do that with both of them. Oh my gosh. You're bringing back a nightmare for me. No, not really a nightmare. I'm over-exaggerating. But Paul St. Peter always recorded before I did. And I wish that wasn't the case because Paul, when he records, has a very certain way of speaking, even if it's as a character. He has a certain cadence. He has a certain inflection. I literally had to hear him do that to match him. And at that point in time, this was prior to the current engineering standards that we live by today, where it doesn't matter if you're exactly at the same cadence or rhythm as the other actor. They have a way to engineer it where they can stretch it out or they can compress it. They didn't have that back then. It's like you get it or you don't get it. And I didn't get it most of the time. And I had to do each of those lines probably 5 or 6 times before they got it right, before they got it to where it matched exactly. And Paul's just that certain actor. It's like, I love him to death, but man, I hate when he records, you know, because of the cadence that he has and how I had to match exactly how he was saying a certain line and whether he was going up or whether he was coming down. It was just like crazy. It was like, oh my God, Paul, please. But yeah, that was one of the most challenging times that I had. Yes, 2 minutes?
Oh, no, I was actually just pointing my hand. Does that mean you can do a really good impression of him now, at least?
No. No, can't do that. How much time do we have left?
20.
We have 20 minutes? 20 seconds?
Yeah, it's 12, 10, by 20.
Oh, so 10 minutes? What do we have? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, just so we're all on the same page. So if you guys have dying questions, now's not the time to hold back. Yes, sir.
I have one really quick question.
Yes.
This is somewhat to do with Digimon, but also another character that you voiced, if you mind. I know you were also the voice of Uryu from Bleach.
Do you guys see what I'm wearing?
I noticed that the two characters, even though from different anime, they have somewhat similar. I thought it was kind of cool they did both characters because Ken from Digimon started off kind of evil.
Yep.
Same how as Uryu from Bleach started off kind of as an enemy from Ichigo.
Yep.
And they turned kind of back around to help the main character.
Uryu is probably the second best favorite character that I voiced because of that arc that Uryu has. And with Uryu, it's not so much as it is with Ken. Ken, there's a definite arc. Like, there's a definite good side, bad side. In the beginning, when you first see Uryu, you're just not sure what he is. Like,
Right.
Who is this guy? Like, what is he? Like, is he a badass or what? Like, do I like him? Do I not like him? I don't know. You know? And he doesn't change that much as Ken did.
Right, not as much.
Right, but yeah, it was still very cool to be able to play that type of character.
I thought that was pretty cool too. I saw him. When you were Uryu and doing the fight sequences and things,
Yep.
did you have to raise your voice a little bit, like to do some of like the moves or the attacks and everything?
Did everybody hear that question? I don't know. The question was when I was fighting in some of the sequences. We're kind of getting off Digimon, but in some of the fighting sequences, like as Uryu from Bleach, when I had to raise my voice, what was the question exactly?
I said, did you have to raise your voice like different pitches back and
Different
forth?
pitches, yes. I'll tell you, I am not the master of that. The master of that, like, if he ever comes out here, you guys gotta like drill him, Johnny.
Johnny Young Boss?
We're working on
He is like the master
He is awesome.
of fighting sequences. Like, I'm not even gonna get into a vocal match with him as far as fighting sequences.
Well, he was a Power Ranger.
He's awesome. Yes, he was a Power Ranger. All right, yes.
My last question is partially related. Back then you worked by yourself, but now do you work with any of the other voice actors, or are you still by yourself?
Yeah, that has not changed over time in terms of recording. The only time that might change is if there's a sequence in an anime where there's a bunch of ancillary characters that you don't really know. They're just kind of in the background. And what they will sometimes do is bring in a group of actors who just kind of do the background voices that you hear, like maybe kids that are playing soccer in the background while the characters that you're watching are in the foreground. Oh, it does. Oh, sweet. Okay, so I guess we have more time. We have 15 minutes. Yes.
Is there any character that you have done that you can either relate to or seen similarities in your personalities or whatever that you can relate to in your own life?
Are there similarities from characters that I have voiced that I can relate to in my
Or
personal
have you related to any of them
life?
at all?
Well, like I said, I do try and bring a piece of myself to all of the characters. Like, there's something I try and tie emotionally, if they are an emotional character, to myself, like something that might connect. Oddly enough, okay, this is going to be a really weird, wacky, so I'm totally getting off Digimon now, guys, I'm sorry. Have any of you guys seen Paradise Kiss?
Yes.
Not a lot. It's not one of those, anime that's very well known or popular. But if you like fashion, if you like following a particular female lead character through her like arc, so to speak, in terms of becoming like a newbie, in terms of like knowing what she's doing, there's a character that I play in there who is like a total badass. I mean, at least on the outside, he appears to be a badass because he's got piercings all over the place. He's got tats. He's got spiky hair. Somebody that I would aspire to be in another life, like looking like that, because I have none. But at that particular point in time, especially when he was being, I guess, not really fought against, but there was one particular female that, you know, it's like either you get it or you don't, and if you don't, get out, kind of thing. And at that point in time, personally, I could relate to that because my father was dying of cancer. And there was a lot of emotional stuff that I was able to bring to the table for that particular anime because of him. Now, not that he had anybody die in his family, but the energy behind some of the stuff that he was saying, like why he was angry and stuff, I could definitely bring that into there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. So she wanted to find out if I can do some of the fighting stuff that I would do from Digimon. I would be happy to do that. Guys, Tyler, if you could check the time, like when we're at 2 minutes before we have to end, warn me, and that way I'll do it. Because I want to save it for the end. I don't want to necessarily do it now while I'm talking, because it might mess my voice up. But I will do that, I promise you. Yes. Sir, with the orange. Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of difference do you have between Shino and Warrior?
What kind of difference do I have between Shino and Uryu?
Yeah, voice-wise.
Okay, so we're totally getting off Digimon now. Is that okay?
Yep.
That we're doing that?
It's all good.
It's all good? Okay. All right, so the difference between Uryu and Shino. Okay, so Uryu is very much like me, just more laid back. You know, and just go down into my lower register, and that's pretty much who he is. And that's who you hear when I'm usually recording that particular character. But as you guys all know, because I like to, you know, aspire to other actors. So I don't know how many of you guys knew this, but Shino is not just me. It's Christian Slater speaking through me as Shino. Did you know that? Because
when you talk like this, and you're really laid back, and you kind of got that gravel in your voice, yeah, parasitic insect jutsu. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't raise his voice and all, you know, he's just kind of there. That's Shino. That's also Christian Slater.
Who else? Yes.
You mentioned that you pretty much put yourself in every character you play, but has there been any characters you hated doing? Like anyone you hated to do? Like when you went into the recording studio, you just hated doing it.
Okay, so you guys know, as I've already mentioned, when I get hired to do something, I do not necessarily know what I'm going in to do, right? I get a job and I go do it. That's who I am. And I don't want to, no, I'm not going to do it. So, for this one particular thing that I got called in for, and I didn't have to audition for it, they knew my work. They said, you look like, you sound like you could probably do this. Do any of you guys know the show Kite Liberator? Thank God nobody raised their hand. You do?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Familiar. Familiar is one thing, like watching it is two totally different things. Okay, so the reason why I don't like this show, and it's me personally, as a person, like I cannot wrap my head around this, when you have two twin evil brothers, which I both played, who go on a raping spree for girls that are under the age of 10.
Oh.
That was like, why am I doing this? You know, for me, like ethically, like it's like, it just made me feel so awful. Like, like while I was doing it, and it's like, I'm doing a job, this is one of those things where you just gotta, do the work, you go in there, you say the lines, you do the work, you get out. That's what that show was for me. That's like, if there was any show that I can equate that to, based on your question, that would be it. And please don't make a point in going to watch it, unless you guys get off on that kind of stuff, and I hope you don't. It's really ugly, evil. Yes, way in the back. Yeah?
Do you ever enjoy doing warm-ups or tongue twisters in your character voice?
The question was exercises, vocal exercises that voice actors do. Is there any particular voice exercises that I like doing as in a character to get ready for that character? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I should be doing exercises. And I don't. I used to. There was a point in time I can remember when I knew that I was going in for season 2 to do Digimon, and I would do just weird, wacky stuff that I remembered from my college days, like rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy, and why can't I say that? It's like I'd mess with myself. But I don't typically do them. I don't do them now, unless I know that I am going in to record something where I am going to have to scream, like and I know this for like one of the shows that I'm currently doing right now, where typically for the next 3 sessions that I'm recording, I know that I'm going to be screaming for about 1.5 hours, like straight. And we've already talked about it with the director, so I know that I have to, like, we're going to do all my regular talking stuff first, and then the last hour and a half or hour, depending on how my voice feels, we're going to go ahead and we're going to knock it out and do it that way, because I have to save my voice somehow. Like when we did it, I just actually record. I can say that I talked about it. I can't just just can't tell you what that show is yet. But he's the main bad guy, and he also happens to be the lead for the show. And so we already know, based on the dialogue that I'm going to be recording, like what I have to do. And the first time that we did it, when we knew that there was this arc where he's going to be like screaming through the entire episode or episodes, the first time that I did it, which was last Monday, like at the end of that particular recording session, I was thrashed. Like I could not, my ear was in pain. And I took the rest of the week off as far as recording stuff. But yeah, that was crazy nuts. And I said, we're not doing that again. It's like, yeah.
So when it comes to stuff like that, how do you psych yourself up to be in character to prepare for stuff like that?
How do I psych myself up to be a character to prepare like that? So I have to create the story myself, because they don't give us the background for this for characters. So I have to basically let's just say that I have. That's as far as I can go with this character. Otherwise, if I don't, then I'll give you guys away what the show is. But yeah, I basically just have to create a background for myself when I know enough about the character that I've been voicing it for at least 2 or 3 episodes, to bring something to that I can relate to as a person. Like, how many of us have ever felt like we were different? Right? All of us, pretty much. Different to a point where you get made fun of or ridiculed, right? Okay? I basically bridge that emotion, that feeling that I have to that character to bring life into that character and make it understandable for the audience, so you don't just like I said, when I do bad guys, I don't like to just do bad guys. There has to be some sort of emotional content background behind that so that he's human. He's not just a character. I will get to you. I just want to make sure that there's no other time frame. Where are we at?
5 minutes.
Good. Cool. Thank you. Yes, sir.
When you said your voice is hoarse and everything, is
Yeah.
there any particular things that you found work really well for helping you recover your voice?
The question was, are there any things that I find helpful to help recover my voice if I've been using it a lot and not necessarily in a good way? There's a couple things. There's a tea called, what is it? I can't even remember what the name of it is, but it's cool. There's,
Ginseng?
yeah, ginseng helps. Ginseng helps. Garlic helps.
Ginger?
What doesn't help, and I just realized this after I ruined my voice from last Monday's recording, lemon is not good for your voice. Believe it or not, because it actually dries it out. But yeah, golden throat. Golden throat. It's a Chinese lozenge that I swear by. That is awesome in terms of helping with voice. So now I was just given the 2-minute warning sign. So to answer your question now, right? Some of the battle stuff that I had to do as Digimon. So this is kind of getting into technical aspects of voice acting. I come from a place where I might have different training than other actors who have been doing this or not doing this for a certain period of time. I actually studied voice, not voice acting, but voice, like how to use your voice when I was in college at Carnegie Mellon. And I still go back to those days in terms of there are different places in your body where you can actually create a voice or use your voice from. Like up here where it's your head, it's like up in your nasal cavity area, right? Which is where Vmon comes from. And then you have this part right here, which is your normal speaking voice. You know, it's natural. You don't have to do anything with it. And then there's this part down here in your stomach where you have to, and depending on the type of character, if you're talking about the manly stuff, use some of the gravel. So, and typically speaking, like, have you noticed like the I don't know, maybe it's just me and stuff that I've done or stuff that I've watched, but some of the cutesy stuff, like it sounds funny, like if you see a character battling and they're kind of like have a cutesy voice, like it's like seriously. Some of the stuff that I can remember, especially when Beelzemon was like really big in terms of some of the stuff that had to be done. Like when I was using the gravel for that, you know, it's like coming from down here, not scratching my voice in such a way where it's going to really rip it apart, but it's like, you know, that was a lot of that. Bob, why is Bob's name on here? Do I want to drink this? I won't die. Are you sure? Did you know that you can say this word forwards and backwards? Bob. That was some of it. Some of the other battle stuff that I did, kind of getting away from Digimon. But did she watch Bleach? Did she watch Bleach? Did you watch Bleach? Yeah. Okay. So there was stuff that was more in my normal voice as Uryu, you know, where it's not as gravelly, but it's like, you know, where you do stuff like that, and it comes from a place where I'm not really scratching my voice because I know where I'm using that part of my body, if that makes sense. I know it sounds really weird. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's it. I really appreciate you guys coming out for the Digimon panel. 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock for us? 2, 3. Today? 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, I'm not sure where it's going to be, but 3 o'clock autographs. And then tonight, I think at 8 o'clock, yes? 8 or 9? 9. 9 o'clock, I'm not sure where it is, but I will have an 18 plus panel where you will be able to ask questions that you normally wouldn't be able to ask here and get them answered honestly, where we don't have to beat around the bush, so to speak. But be careful of the questions that you ask because they could turn around. So, hope to see you guys later. Have a great day.